What's up, everybody, and welcome to the House of Business podcast. I'm your host, Matt.
And I'm Hope. How's it going today, Matt?
Not good.
Oh, why?
And what's awkward is I have the same clothes on from a different intro, but I just thought about this as something I just need to get off my chest.
Okay.
And I think this is going to be more of a therapeutic introduction for me, but I am going through the process, and I cannot believe I'm saying this.
What are you about to say?
I'm going through a process of my lease is up on my vehicle. Actually, both my lease and my wife's lease. And there's going to be...
At the same time.
There's going to be like Ramsey followers who are like, you're an idiot. Why are you leasing your car? Like, cash is king. I lease cars. And by the way, if you lease a car or you finance a car right now, it's pretty much the same. You're just getting screwed out of the way.
Which it used to not be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
The car market in general has changed significantly since COVID.
Well, everything just costs way more. So...
Yeah. Why is that, though? Why is that? Because of inventory? Or is that still an issue?
Chip shortage and, inflation. It's a whole thing. Interest rates are up. It's just the most annoying thing. And the last time we leased, COVID had just started. I couldn't get a single car off a lot. If there was like lot wars and I was in the middle of it, so we survived that. At least the price was reasonable.
Yeah.
Now, well, first of all, let me step back. The process of getting a vehicle right now at a car dealership, I feel like it's stuck in 1965.
Yeah, it is. Why is it so difficult?
Because and I don't want to, I don't want to stereotype car dealers.
Yeah, you might need to be a little careful.
Great people outside of it, I'm sure. But just like the web of if we can get more out of you and the numbers they throw at you and just the reasons as to why you need to put $10,000 down for a car payment. It's insane.
You would think that somebody would have figured out some kind of tech or an app.
Tesla.
An app.
I know. Have you ever gone online for Tesla?
But you're saying that everyone could adapt that Tesla idea, like
so
the way
what
that you order a car?
So what I appreciate about the Tesla process is you go online and it's like, here's the breakdown, here's the cost, and there's like no negotiating from what I know. And here's your finance option, here's your lease option, et cetera. Here's your buy option. And then that's it. You order it to spec.
It's kind of similar to like buying an Apple computer.
Yeah.
Like you click the boxes of what the upgrades are, not the upgrades, and then you kind of go from there, right?
Yeah. So it's just like been miserable.
But you would think like, if I was going to go through a dealership to get a car, I'll go through the headache to get a better price. But oftentimes I don't feel like that's true.
No, it's all a game. You'll call in and I'll be like, hey, I'm just trying to get this ballpark figure before I drive in. And for them, it's like the hook is you need to come in. So when you're sitting there, we're going to try to get you in a position where you can't walk away. And
but it takes so much time.
They burn you down.
We don't have that much time.
I know. It's just like I'm going to battle.
Actually, funny story. One time, Steve and I were in a car dealership with small kids, and we were kind of thinking, we bring our kids in, this will go faster because whatever.
And they brought out juice boxes just to...
No, that didn't happen, but one of my kids did set off the alarm in one of the cars in the delership by trying to open it or something. Yeah. And I was like, do you want us to leave now? And so...
like, yeah, sign here.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's... it's been interesting. So we're figuring it out. So if anybody has any advice on...
Yeah, honestly, this should be like an Ask the Audience situation where is anybody have any tips or tricks in which to make this process easier?
Yeah. And my strategy, just to make it clear, is I'm venting now. I feel like the nice guy, reasonable to work with approach, let's both win here strategy has worked the best for me. Obviously, come in educated, have a general idea, but I've never dealt with the scenario of can't get general numbers. We need to have you come in. It's a whole, I just hate the game. So, and it's making me not be nice anymore. I'm stepping away from my Canadian self.
Yeah.
I'm like,
sorry.
South Florida, Miami Bison people. So,
well, the sad end of the story is that you have no solution yet.
Yeah, I'm just
basically.
I'm gonna Uber everywhere probably.
yeah, and Char.
So
you both will. Yeah. All right. Well, we got to interview an awesome guy today. His name is, I almost said the right name, Joshua.
Johnathan
Johnathan.
Cyprien. That's great. He's gonna love hearing that. So,
I'm sorry.
long day for Hope. I think she's drinking a Red Bull.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome interview. We found this little niche within the types of people we're interviewing where it's another story. And by the way, if you hear rumbling in the background, it's the Fort Lauderdale Air Show, and these jets are flying by. So,
yeah, they're sick too.
And if you see the video and we're startled, that's why.
yeah.
He's another story of a successful athlete. He played in the NFL for a while and was excellent at what he did. And within his time there, got out of the league, and is now in the world of real estate. So awesome guy. He's got awesome swag to him.
We've talked about
I wish I was
this,
as cool as him, by the way.
Yeah, we've talked about this before when we've interviewed athletes, but it's interesting within the athlete world is you exit that career at such a unique age. You know, you still got fire under you. You still want to do things. You still, have ideas and aspirations. So, you go from a retired athlete at typically what's the average age? Like 40, maybe 35?
No. That's younger? Like Tom Brady.
Yeah, true.
An anomaly. Yeah.
But I mean, that's so young. That's so young to be 35 out of a career and onto a new one.
I would say, honestly, I don't know about the NFL, but I would say mid to late 20s to early 30s. Like if you're in early 30s and you're still playing in the NFL, you've done very well.
Yeah. But even that's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, because it's like us. It would be like me being done and, you're financially set in some capacity. But again, it's back to what's your purpose? What are you doing? How are you contributing to society? And he's a great example of somebody who had it figured out.
Yeah. So. Okay, tell us a little about Joshua.
Johnathan.
Oh
my gosh. And we're not redoing this, by the way. You're stuck and you're going to have to carry that burden.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about Johnathan.
There you go. Johnathan Cyprien, retired professional NFL athlete, as we mentioned. He's now an entrepreneur, philanthropist, and community leader. He's committed to making investments to help young people. Cyprien is now the CEO of Cyprien Capital, a real estate investment firm he started to further his intentional investments in real estate and develop a career in commercial real estate with others. He's got a vision for the community. He did that through establishing the SIP Squad, which helps at-risk youth within the community. He's been doing that since 2015. So again, a man of the people, incredibly smart, very humble about his success, both on and off the field. And I really enjoyed spending time with him.
Yep. Awesome. We hope you guys enjoy.
Well, I'm Johnathan Cyprien. I'm born and raised here in Miami, Florida, North Miami Beach, to be specific. I literally went through the elementary to high school range in that same neighborhood. Ended up earning a scholarship to FIU, Florida International University, where I played there for 4 years. And then after those 4 years, I was blessed enough to enter the draft and be picked amongst so many. I was picked 33rd overall. That's the first pick in the second round.
Not a big deal.
No big deal. But I mean, that was a great time in my life, obviously. And played in the year for 8 years. I got drafted to the Jacksonville Jaguars, was there 4 years. From there, I did 2 years in Tennessee. 1 year I was traded, so I played for the Eagles half the year and then the Atlanta Falcons the other half. And my last and final year was 2020-2021 season, where I played for the San Francisco 49ers during that pandemic year.
Yep. Just for perspective, do you know what the average career length is in the NFL? Because 8 years is a good run.
Yes, it is. It is. The average, when I got into the league, it was about 3 years was the average. I think it's now even less, a little 2 to 3 years.
Really?
Oh, wow.
People. Yeah, yeah. So
you were good at what you did. That's what we're trying to say.
I mean, I try to be at anything I do, and football is definitely, my first passion and something I've been doing since a kid. But, sports, I think, puts a lot more than, education on how to play a game, but education in life with the mentors and coaches and just the drive that you have that I think I've been able to transfer over to business.
So let's dive in a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think, so one, tell us about what you're doing on the business side. you and I, that's how we got connected. You are now in real estate and investment opportunities there. But I just want to kind of go back to how that came to be because I think about, and maybe he's a good example or maybe not, but like a Marshawn Lynch, where there's the rumblings of he didn't spend a single cent of what he made based off of his earnings from the NFL. And obviously he's, you know, a big time, had endorsements from Skittles, et cetera, and he's probably making great funds. But I just love hearing the stories of guys who played in professional sports, had an opportunity. Maybe you encountered somebody that you played with along the way who was diversifying kind of their business opportunities outside of the locker room, right? And from there, you said, hey, I'm going to do something after I'm done. Real estate's my thing. And now you're here. So, was there like a moment while you were playing where you realized there's a business venture you wanted to partake in? Was it always real estate? And is that what brought you to where you are today?
Absolutely. For me, my story is a little bit different than Marshawn's, right? Like you said, a lot of players who have that marketability and are able to earn enough funds, a lot of times more off the field than on the field, are definitely able to do that. And I agree with that completely. Now, for myself and a little bit of a smaller market in Jacksonville, the marketing opportunities weren't like that, but
Right.
I was still able through my career to earn $30 million plus in contracts signed. And with that, I remember going back to in my second year in the NFL. It was in the off season, and I just remember this being the second time that when I look at my account, I see a lot of red, 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 and it took me back to college. Took me back to college when I literally had about 2,500 bucks a semester of cash in my pocket to be able to budget. And I believe the semesters are what, 4 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always budgeting, and I just always remember red, red, red. And I would only see a green until the next semester came. I wasn't able to have too much support from my family, nor did I ever ask for it, right? But I was able to just budget whatever it was that I had. But that was always something for me, that how do I get more green in these accounts than red? So I went back to a woman who actually spoke to me about real estate. When I got to Jacksonville, she was the one to help me find one of the properties that I lived in while I was there in a place called the Town Center in Jacksonville, Florida. And as she helped me sign that rental lease, she said to me, "Hey, I know you got drafted kind of high, and you probably have some capital for you to be an invest. And in Jacksonville right now, it's cheap to buy, and and the rent is high." Literally, that's how she said it. That's how she explained it to me. And at the time, I thought, man, I'm just getting some money in my pocket, and someone's already trying to take it, you know? But that was very early on. And as I just came to my senses, I think, and started to think about, that red green in my account, I said, what can I do to earn income, but obviously still focus on football? So I gave her a call and I asked her if she can tell me more. From that, we started a relationship where I was able to buy several properties in Jacksonville, and she ended up becoming my property manager. But not only that, just a mentor in real estate in the space of buying residential properties and being able to do long-term leases that really see the benefit in now and then, but mostly now, where all the rental income was able to accumulate while I played football. The appreciation of the properties that I bought in 2015 has appreciated, and the capital gains went through the roof, right? During these times now, especially when the pandemic came and so many people were moving to Florida and it became such in high demand. So I'm just like a living a vessel of how real estate was able to impact my life. Now that as I move on, I'm able to use that cash flow to cover my expenses and
Right.
continue living the same life that I did when I was playing.
Yeah, and you were started all this before COVID, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so you kind of like had the right setup as we know, like COVID, the way that it impacted the real estate market in South Florida or in Florida in general has been nuts.
Yeah, that's been a
Absolutely.
big boom
Absolutely.
for sure. And you and I have discussed this. And what I find so fascinating is when you got into this, this was your mentality was not necessarily like this. I'm going to start a formal business behind this. This was just you trying to make smart decisions. You didn't like how the account looked from being red and wanting to convert back to green, and it was just making simple personal decisions to set you up for more so of a legacy play, right? Because you've been blessed with an amazing opportunity to get some good cash in your pocket from hard earned, hard sweat equity, right? So let's not ruin this opportunity and take advantage of it. What I find even more fascinating about you, and this is why I wanted to get you on here, is this isn't just like a self-centered passion. You're now taking this thought and going back to your relationships in the NFL and saying, guys, a lot of you guys in this locker room have an opportunity to be doing the same thing and making these smart decisions. Go through me as a vessel to help you on the real estate side or whatever, and we can work together and create some more movement in the space. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about Cyprien Capital and what you're doing there?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like I said before, me being a true example of how it looks like to invest somewhat early and during your career, and having the benefit post career, and me being still at an age where I can share that knowledge from my perspective, because sometimes it's not the message, but it's who is it coming from, right? So,
Good point.
Yeah.
and that can be, yeah, and that can be good or bad, right? But I think I can definitely use my perspective and experience to be able to teach. And for me, it's always been a passion of mine. I think a purpose of mine to be able to give back and be impactful. And I think when it comes to finances, it's very impactful, right? To be able to erase the stereotype of the football player who goes broke 2 years after exiting the NFL, right? So what is at least one way, what is one source of passive income you can create for yourself, and actually, maybe even a life insurance policy if you really ask for a retirement policy, rather, I may say, when it comes to those that passive income. How do I kind of share that and help people and be able to be a little bit part of the reason why people live a better life? I was speaking to some friends the other day, and when the topic comes around, vacations or traveling or doing this and doing that, what is enjoying life if you can't do it around the people that you love, the people that you like, your friends. And sometimes there's so many situations where, okay, one person can be able to afford to take this trip, but then the other one can't, right? And so what is it for me to kind of go into this space, right? Try to be successful as I can, which that's the only thing in my mind, to become successful, right? And then just do it alone and then look to my left and my right and not see
Hmm.
anybody that I recognize, right? So all of that kind of played into it. I think that I'm one of them when it comes to an NFL athlete, and been in those locker rooms and didn't have too much of that financial literacy that you need when you actually obtain a certain amount of money, right? We come into a place where you get a certain amount of cash and resources, but you don't have the knowledge to back it up as a 50 or 40-year old male or female does, because it takes time to acquire such funds, right?
Right.
So I
And
came
you
up
come
with
into it so
Cyprian Capital.
quickly in professional sports, right?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
accumulated over 30 years where you grind your way through it. It's like, hey, it could be a signing bonus, right? Or, just you make the big contract and now all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I went from here to here
Yeah.
and I have not the slightest idea of how to manage this properly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And you don't have that
Yeah.
knowledge. Some of these, you're talking about people in their 20s,
Mhm.
yeah, you're,
Mhm.
you're, you're pretty young when that goes on.
Yeah.
Nobody talks to you about money until you start making it.
That's
Nobody.
so true. I
That is
wouldn't
so
know, but
true.
yeah, I'll take
Well,
your word for it.
and the scary thing is, I've heard people in the music industry say this, that like there is this threshold of, did you sign your bad deal, your bad contract yet? Because there's such lack of knowledge, and you do come into it, and so all of a sudden, when you are making money, everyone's approaching you, coming after you, whatnot, and you're not sure what's a good deal, what's not, who to sign with, who to trust. So I love that you kind of talk to your with your network of sports players and whatnot, you can kind of infiltrate as a trusted advisor, a trusted friend, and give them your experience.
Yeah, and like you said, so many people are coming at you from all different directions now that you have money, right? And now that you can be in these investment conversations when honestly you shouldn't invest in anything that you don't know about, that you don't have
Right.
knowledge about. So I want to be that person, that bridge to vet the different developers, right? The different real estate companies, these different opportunities to be able to really one, underwrite the deal, uh, two, have a true relationship with whomever has the deal, right? And just put not only myself, but my clients in the best situation as far as earning money, right? And creating a passive income and passive ways of acquiring wealth over time, right? So I can be that person that boots on the ground, especially for athletes who are currently playing, right, to have the confidence in me to not only explain what's going on, but to make sure everything that I bring to the table is vetted and is something that not only I'm bringing to them, but I have skin in the game with as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and again, you're doing a tremendous job at that. I want to dive back real quick, and you may have an example, or you may not. I don't even know if you're willing to share, but there are certainly examples of players across all professional sports who have had some reckless spending along the way, and we hear about these extravagant purchases that they make, and those are all fun stories. But do you have an example inside the locker room of a player or teammate that you were alongside who was just a savvy businessman, and maybe he was a little farther in his career than you, and you said, "Hey, that's a role model for me in terms of how I want to set myself up for my future and how they're approaching their finances personally."
You know what? What's interesting enough is there's not too many conversations in the locker room about finances.
Really?
Really?
And if you no, not at all. Maybe yeah, there's not too many questions about that. Now, maybe
Is it because
something
it's
may come
private?
up. No, it's not private. I got to be honest with you. Like I said, if you don't have knowledge in something, right, how can you really speak on it? You know?
Good point.
Um,
Yeah.
so, so right. So does that topic come up? I find myself being immersed in the business now, where I end up speaking about it to a lot of different people. But if that's not top of mind, right? Is that the conversation that we're having? So it's something for sure that we hope to change. And I think by me creating Cyprien Capital, right, to use my network to be able to be successful with my network and for them to start to see that and be interested in real estate and all the examples we have, for example, this podcast or Earn Your Leisure and so many different financial literacy uh, platforms that are starting to be developed, I think is at least maybe is more likely to happen in our future, right? Where people can start
Hmm.
talking about finances. Another reason is, hey, college athletes are getting paid in college now, right?
Yeah.
So which starts those conversations a little bit earlier as well. Now let's say like you said, there's reckless spending in let's say those NFL locker rooms, and hey, it maybe takes some time for them to kind of learn by putting their hand on the fire, right, on the stove. And with that being said, being NIL now, let's say they do put their hand on the fire and spend recklessly, hopefully, right, they're able to do those spending recklessly and learn to be able to get on track before it's too late, right? Now, I'm
Right.
not saying it's cool to do so, just be so reckless and just counting on another contract, right? Because when it comes to the NFL, one, it's a 1% chance, even though it seems so likely with the networks of the people around you when you're at a Power Five school. But um, yeah, a it's definitely something that I think with that spending habits, to answer that question, is another thing. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to buy something that you like,
Good
right?
point. Yep.
Yeah.
But there's ways to do it. There's definitely ways to do it, ways to be smart about it. And there's things that you can afford, right? But it's just like how much of it. So
Yeah.
too much of anything could be bad for you.
And if you can do it without taking it out of your nest egg and have this passive income coming through, and yes, taking part of that to enjoy life, you don't take it when you're gone.
Yeah.
So certainly there's a legacy play for your kids and generations to come. Totally get that.
Yeah,
But
and
you
make
can
sure
enjoy
you're set
life.
up, like
Yeah.
you have the right things in place. Are you
Yeah.
mostly in residential still, or have you dabbled in commercial
So
investments?
I started in residential when I was in Jacksonville, and my curiosity grew. I actually liked the space of real estate, and I did move on to investing in some commercial properties. I own two at the moment, single tenant units. One is a school here in Broward County, and another restaurant actually in Lansing, Michigan.
Oh, nice.
So that's what I did within the commercial space. But most recently, I've been moving into the multifamily space where we can really create syndications or funds to be able to invest together, myself and other investors included, into different deals that we see is most beneficial for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he's doing a great job with that. That's where we connected. And again, you're leading by example. You always put some skin in the game, right? And it's like, hey guys, and the other thing too is educating on the types of investments, right? Where some of these multifamily components are that's a 10-year kind of duration until you're really seeing your money come back, where you might have a distressed asset that you're referring to and it's cash flowing on day one. So for you to be
Hmm.
there and to be a trusted source for some of these athletes who, as you mentioned, there's a reason why you didn't talk about in the locker room is because if you don't know what you don't know, right? So for you to be there, you're the conduit to that conversation, you're trustworthy, you're not just trying to take their money and giving them the opportunity to go alongside you in that space is really powerful. And
Yeah.
great job to you for doing that. I did have a question though, because you brought up college kids, the NIL, right? It's changing the landscape where, maybe back in the day where you were trying to make it from college to the league, it's trying to get that big contract, right, through the NFL. And even still, only a percentage of that might have been guaranteed. There's all these, red lines underneath to ultimately make sure you get that money. Now it's different where you could get someone who's even younger and more impressionable getting these opportunities through sponsorships and advocacy in that regard, who are already financially secure before they get into the league. And you're helping those individuals out. What's that experience been like?
It's been great. It's been great. And you're alluding to a company I started in last year, March. It's called Inside the Cage, and we're an influencer marketing collective, really better known as Name, Image, and Likeness, NIL. And yes, I created this company to do kind of exactly what I'm doing for athletes when it comes to real estate. This is an opportunity for young people to not only earn compensation for their own brand, right? We know that, especially in today's day, marketing and social media is literally the main source of income for most people. When, I mean, I was born when we still had dial up internet, so
Yep.
it's
I'm there with you,
came,
brother.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's came a long way. And it's so great that college athletes are able to uh, earn um, earn actual money at an early age, but push the money aside, right? It's the other stuff that at least our collective provides is the financial literacy part of things. Teaching them about what an LLC is and creating one for them for tax purposes. Oh, well, okay. How do I file my tax? Putting professionals in front of them to be able to guide them in that space. Also using myself as a mentor, being a college athlete, making it to the NFL. I believe if I didn't go through a particular experience, I may even have a colleague or a friend who does, right? And that way we can just kind of pour into these young people at this very precious time of their lives, where you're in college and you're doing all you can to do get a degree and also perform well enough to make it to the next level. And we're there to be able to support them through reaching those two goals, but also just giving them a lot of tools that they might not even know they need while they're in school, but will pay dividends as they graduate,
Right.
as we really focus on not only the compensation aspect, but actually putting them in front of different professionals, pairing them with the right sponsorships, and most importantly, internships, so that they can actually have on the job training and be able to transition from chasing that professional career to the working force a little bit more smoothly than the past when college athletes couldn't get paid.
Yeah. Um, I would like to ask a real estate question back to your professional experience and knowledge. Where do you see the South Florida market heading? It's been a roller coaster, as we all know, but in your professional opinion, where do you see that heading in the next 12 months?
I mean, so when it comes to real estate, we know during the pandemic, I think everybody was waiting for things to go super, super, super on discount. Interest rates were predicted to be at 30%, right? And everybody was holding on to their cash to be able to dive into the market to pick everything up for cheap, right? A lot like in the stock market, when something's on
Hmm.
sale, pretty much you buy for a cheaper price, right? So
Yep.
I know that's something that a lot of people have been waiting on. And I think, if you really studied the market, that it wasn't going to be as bad as, I guess, 2008, uh, or 2001, those years where, the real estate market really became vulnerable, which created opportunity. This was a case where, yes, prices did go down, interest rates did go up, but not as dramatically as people thought. What I say in the South Florida market, man, everyone is running here. And there's a lot of development going on because of that, right? When it came to the pandemic, a lot of people were stuck in places like New York or even out of the country and found refuge in places like Florida. So, Florida, when it comes to the real estate market, is still doing well. I think it will continue to do well. I think the best time to buy is just right now. And when I say right now, I mean as soon as possible, because you know the advice I gave someone not too long, one of my clients was, hey, do I buy now, right? Oh, because the interest rates are so high, or should I wait because they say there should be a dip in the market? I said, hey, well, look, the interest rates and the pricing for the homes will move pretty much simultaneously. So the interest rates are higher, and let's say you get a discount on the purchase price of the home or the investment. Well, when the interest rate starts to go down, what people are saying in the next 1 to 2 years, guess what? Those sellers will start increasing the price for their properties, right, to balance it off now that the interest rate's lower. So whichever you come in at, would you rather come in at a lower purchase price, higher interest rate, obviously have the opportunity to refinance, right? And
Right. I
then
was gonna say that.
obviously grow in capital gain of
Hmm.
whatever property you have because the interest rates are lowering, or do you wait for the interest rates to low and buy at a higher price, right? So for
Hmm.
me, my recommendations here in Florida would be, to find something that you like. Obviously, if it fits in your budget, there's everyone has a different budget. Is even if you invest in something and maybe you have a roommate to cover your costs. your monthly expenses, right? Because of that interest rate. And then once that interest rate goes down in 2 years, you can refinance. And now the mortgage is at a rate where you can handle by yourself and ask your tenant to move out, right? So there's ways to go about it. And those kind of are my advice when I look at it, when I look at the market now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you covered it well. Uh, I would just say from like a blanket statement, there's I think the last figure I saw was I think there's 1,200 people that are moving here today still in South Florida. That number I
Hmm.
don't want to get lit up online over being incorrect on that. It's a lot of people moving here every day.
Yeah, and they're
So
staying. It's not a snowbird situation where it's like a second home or whatnot. A lot of people, the economy down here has shifted dramatically in the
yeah.
last couple of years.
Yeah. So, and on top of that, as you noted, for us, for tax purposes, people just being fed up and wanting to move to the state, we just had a big bill pass through, Live Local Act, where especially on the multifamily side is going to have a huge impact on the amount of development we see here in the next couple of years. At a minimum, you're in a good spot to be doing what you're doing, and you're doing it well. So I want to end on one final question we ask all of our guests. And this is a very difficult question to ask you, by the way, because you're doing about 6 different things. But if it wasn't the NFL, if it wasn't real estate, if it wasn't NIL, if it wasn't advising other professional athletes, essentially you're, a Swiss Army knife. What could you see yourself doing professionally for a
Well,
different career?
and knowing your skill sets, what you love, what gets your heart beating in that realm, like what could you see yourself doing?
I mean, yeah, that's a good question. Look, for me, so I'm doing a few things, right? When it comes to NIL, right? At the end of the day, it's empowering, it's hopefully impacting people in some way for their lives now and the future. Same as real estate with colleagues of mine. And
Hmm.
same with the foundation, as I just kind of try to give back and create scholarships for younger people. So for me, any profession where I think I'm able to do that, right, make an impact on other people in a positive way. So I think that's really like the number one, I guess, quality in whatever it is I want to do. I try to find that in it, and who is it actually I think going to help, So that's kind of what that was makes me get up to kind of do it. It's
Yep.
like going to the gym and someone says, if I don't have a trainer waiting for me or a friend friend that waiting on me, I might not go today, but I know that at there, it makes me get up and want to go and be there, right? Or get
For
to that
sure.
workout. Kind of same thing as far as what I want to do, what I feel like getting up and a purpose is for me, right? So anything around that. Now, obviously, I can obviously poke onto things that, I'm a hospitality major, which falls in different realms from restaurants to hotels to uh, travel and aviation. And I think hospitality actually works in the real estate realm as well because you work with people.
I agree.
So yeah, so
By
that's
the way, I
kind of
was
what it
hoping you
is,
were
I
going to
guess.
say like DJ or something, just like totally out
Yeah.
there.
I'm not a big music guy. I'm not. I love
Oh
music. I mean,
man.
music touches the soul. Don't get me wrong, but I was the guy that always messed my lyrics up when we're going around in a circle doing a rap. Anyways.
That's hilarious.
Uh, pre- I'm going to break my rule, but I break my rule every time.
Yep.
This is kind of sad,
Yeah.
but Hope and I, we'd be remiss not to ask you. It's a lighthearted question. What does it feel like to have a city declare a day Johnathan Cyprien Day? Because I believe it was in North
Oh
Miami.
yeah, I couldn't get
I
that out
mean,
of my head.
if that's not on like
I was like, Matt, that'll never
LinkedIn,
happen to you. I just want you to know. Just kidding.
how's that feel?
oh,
What day is it, by the way? We'll celebrate.
it's
Yeah, what if
it's
it's a
the
bad day?
third. It's the third Saturday of July every year.
Okay.
The third Saturday of July. We'll have to put that in our calendar. We'll like have a
Yep.
toast or something.
I love
Yeah,
it.
the city. You got to get the city of North Miami Beach's calendar for that one. But no, it's a great feeling. To be from somewhere, literally to know the your surrounding areas right there in North Miami Beach, from neighborhood to schools to City Hall. And I've been giving back so much, starting at home and branching out everywhere else, that they found it fit to, give me that proclamation from my own day in the key to the city about going on 2, maybe 3 years ago now. And the feeling was amazing. And, I just want to continue to make sure that I'm impacting, right, enough, at least in my community, and to make that day as special as it can be.
That's amazing. That's so amazing. Well,
I'm so
Jonathan, thank you
jealous.
so much for joining us. We love this conversation. I love learning more about you and what drives you. And yeah,
Yeah, looking forward to continuing our relationship. And you killed this one, so thank you for your time.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Hope. Thanks for having me, guys.